Welcome to the CodePlay Culture Podcast, where we discuss tech, gaming, health, and the world around us.
Welcome back to CodePlay Culture. Logan, Rui, and Chris back at it again. Today we are discussing another interesting topic where we go over if AI is A-OK in terms of creativity and manual tasks. So I wanted to pick your brains about this, guys. The whole thing about should AI's, social, responsibilities include the following, but not limited to coming up with its own ideas and posting things on social media. It's like rights or, creativity that's robotic versus, okay, you have these emails and you want to move them to the right folder, depending on whatever you think because of the name and whatnot. That's like a manual process thing. It's not really creating content that's maybe masquerading around as someone that is like, oh, this is not AI content. There's this whole wave of people want to know, especially Google, YouTube, when you post a video, is it got any AI elements in it? Is there any altered content? Is the new pop-up when you're posting a YouTube video? I'm sure, Rui, you've seen it.
Yeah, I have seen it. And I suppose they're doing the due diligence, but I'm not sure what the reason for that is. I suppose to inform users whether or not it's AI, but is it purposeful? Like, is it meaningful? Do I care?
Keep honest people
Does anybody
honest.
care? Keep honest people honest. Well, they'd have to start at the top then, and not with the creators, right? Like, if we're gonna talk honesty, then we got to go right to the top of that food chain, man.
Yep.
But it's not going to work like that. But here's the thing, right? In terms of creativity, my personal opinion is AI can never be creative. I don't think it could ever. It's not creative now, right? It's taking sources and mishmashing it to give you what you're asking for, but I don't think it's creative at this point.
No, I would agree. I think it's just a clever use of algorithms to come up with a approximation of something based off of averages and a lot of math. It can come up unique solutions because of that, but it can't come up with creative solutions. Again, the training models are also a big part of that, right? You're just taking content and mashing it up from tens and hundreds of thousands of similar works.
Yeah, like stable diffusion kind of stuff.
Yeah. And there's a lot of legal ramifications from that, and there's also the content considerations, right? There's a lot of it out there already, and it's only going to get worse. Especially now that photos and video have really entered the AI domain this past year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched AI video, like the older ones or the more recent ones at all?
Last one I remember, there was a podcast that someone mocked up if like Steve Jobs was being interviewed by, I think, Joe Rogan. That was like a year ago. And made a simulated conversation. Obviously, one of them has passed away, and then it was rough around the edges. But that was even in the past year. I'm sure it's leaps and bounds better.
I've seen some really crazy ones. They almost seem like nightmares.
They're all exactly. That's it.
Right?
So the ones that you're talking about, Chris, is like where they're doing a good like banter back and forth with like using the language and the speech, and then kind of doing some clips and stuff, but like full featured videos where it's like doing some. It's all like dogs with foreheads eating each other's necks, and like it's terrifying. It's because you can't really tell in a dream. Everything blurs together. Is that safe? Is that not safe? It's like it's all nightmare rocket fuel.
It's insane.
Yeah. Right, and it goes back to your original point. I think algorithmic tools do have purposes, right? I think you're seeing a lot of work being done in the medical field for assessments of radiology tests, and it's been insanely successful. What you should have an error rate of 30%, it goes down to like low single digits. using some of these technologies just because they can process that much faster, and having hundreds of thousands of things feed that algorithm so it does its job better. Those are good applications of this technology. So you can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. You have to, I think there's a lot of bad on the creative front. There's just a lot more noise to get heard above as a creator. I mean, I think Rui, that's where you're coming from also. But
Absolutely. And as a creator, we should be cognizant of all these things and try to push back as much as we can, right? I talked about adding some kind of, aside from YouTube's or Google's kind of checkbox where it asks you if it's AI generated, I talked about having my own AI, anti AI kind of labels, like, just like an X through. It's like none of this was used, no AI was used during the process of this video, for the script, for the assets. This was all my creativity and
I've
my
had
assets.
Yeah.
I've had that in front of my podcast for all of 2024, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Just I heard, actually it was right after I heard that one mock podcast I was talking about before. I was like, I see where the ball's going. Let me just get in front of this.
I think there's going to be a lot of pushback going like in the future. We're adopting it so easily now. It's something new, but once it starts to take root, like truly take root, because the average person doesn't know how to use AI, to be honest. Like I talked to a handful of people and like, I don't know how to use it. But once it really takes root in the next decade and it becomes commonplace, there will be pushback. I guarantee you there's going to be pushback.
Yeah, and there are watermarking tools out there that are continuing to get better and better as well. But that doesn't always get as publicized as much. But I think you'll be able to go back and look at a lot of work that was AI generated, and that watermarking should work. But I'm at least holding out hope.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, earlier this year, I was also just deep into the AI research area. A lot of the documents of actual intelligence that can derive from this stuff. Just because I was writing a novel for kids based off of the dawn of artificial intelligence, but all the AI bandwords that thrown. I mean, people have to differentiate. It's not really intelligent. It's a
That's
acronym
right.
that doesn't accurately describe how these large language models and algorithms work.
Mm-hmm.
It's another one of those shorthands. It covers a wide range of things, and they're very even a large language model and something for like radiology are very different in how they operate.
Yeah. No, I'm all for like technical advancements. I don't have a problem with that at all. But as a human being, when I see some kind of AI content, I start hearing voices that sound like it, I will immediately close whatever that is, discard it as just more junk in the pile and move on.
Like report as altered content.
Mm-hmm.
How they have like report as spam, misleading, scams, hate speech. They have all these like options in Instagram when you're reporting a person or a post. For the fake news clickbait stuff, I think also the altered content is a bit of the fake news classifications coming back through again, which in a sea of like in a plethora sea of like just mediocre AI generated information and news. It's good to know what's fake, what's altered, and whatnot. But it'd be cool on YouTube. You have like a button, like a tab, like two tabs. You have like real people and altered content. It's like it just would filter it all out.
There's I'm not trying to be ageist here, but I think the three of us obviously are older and have more media literacy than most people. I think there's a lot of kids that it's not taught in schools.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not a lot of awareness even in the general public, I think, of how these technologies work and how to even discern that, right? Like, there are kids now that are just being raised on this crap and do not have the literacy to understand the difference. So it's almost like they're being indoctrinated to a world where it's just they're used to the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's
so
quite bad.
I think, and it's weird. I think the problem there's maybe a bell curve where I think it's people in that kind of, I'd say early to mid 30s, maybe to mid to late 40s that kind of grew up with the technology and all this evolution. I think on the older end and the younger end, you've got two different problems, but in terms of AI just warping their perspective of reality.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I'm not trying to be ageist, like too defined. It's just I think that there is a certain subset of us that just kind of just seeing this evolve as we've grown up as well.
Yeah, we also have like a opportunity to help younger generations like no other generation, because we've seen it come from like BBSs and 56K baud modems all the way up to DOS games and like and then we have like they've grown up in a like if I show them something that 480p letterboxed like a VHS or a DVD, they're like, why? I can't even watch this. It's like they're so silver spooned with the quality of like the video games. Like, you used to play this, Dad? I'm like, yeah, man. Used to.
It's the state of the art.
Yeah, this is like we used to hover around some older teenagers in the arcade and like look up at them in awe for their ability to just win against others on a single quarter. And then now it's like on your phone, the whole kind of casino freeware game with just like destroying society because it's free, but then you got to keep on adding money into the game to buy little microtransaction with like $1,000
in less than 2 generations.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, you can keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So, and then even the older generations that didn't grow up with any of it, well, they did, I guess, if they're older than us, but they have a even better opportunity, or I guess equal opportunity that we do to teach younger generations about the true form of happiness, which I really feel, and I think we all feel like, when you doom scroll Instagram for 5 minutes, you hate your life, so to speak, after, because it drains you from like a mental perspective and all this stuff. Like, you never feel good after using your phone for a long period of time or screens for a long period of time, as opposed to going for a jog and being outside, like that kind of stuff. They have this like interesting opportunity to teach younger generations about the true form of happiness, which I think will be eventually like brought back through reforming the I think the kids won't stand for it for a long time. Everyone knows we're walking around like zombies, and for the most part we know that it's not entirely sustainable into the next like foreseeable future.
I don't think anyone can say that they don't understand the risks now. I think that's clear. I mean, I'm hearing we talk to other parents. You're seeing laws go into place. You're seeing a big pushback. You're seeing parents really desire more analog experiences for their kids because that's what we had growing up. I mean, I know I'm doing that with my kids as well.
Same here.
Board games, books. I know, I think that's probably the first place I remember seeing this and driving the point home was with vinyl and the popularity over the last couple of years. Right. I don't think something like that really. Part of it's the nostalgia factor, and that happens every couple of decades. You go back. The 90s are big right now, right? You can see it in ads and whatnot. But I think there's just a desire to go back to those analog parts of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't auto-tune a record.
And it's going to keep happening, right? As the technology evolves at this rapid pace, people are going to want that. That analog life. I mean, it's very appealing. I know when I bust out my DVDs, although they are not analog to digital, but compared to instant streaming, it's such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a different experience for sure.
Yeah, only thing missing is the rental store.
Yeah, it was one of my first jobs, Blockbuster Video. I loved it. I was like so happy to get in there. I just talk to people about video games all day long, and like they're just like, man, I just want to get out of here. You're so passionate. I mean, let me leave. I was talking to people in the game section. There's enough movie buffs to,
you're one of those Blockbuster jerks, man. I worked at an independent store. There's a Blockbuster up the street. I mean, the only reason my boss probably stayed in business was the adult section, but those are stories for another pod.
Yeah, well, they say like exactly that's like the not safe for work version of CodePlay Culture X or CodePlay X culture. But like, yeah, what is it? 70% of the internet is like that stuff, anyways. I mean, like it is. I know we don't talk about it. This is like taboo for whatever, but at the end of the day, it is so prevalent for society to actually maturely bubble it up. But I guess you can't because of the kids and multiple other reasons at this point. But I would have worked at an independent video rental store if I could. I just got the opportunity at Block. I wanted to work at Jumbo Video. I'm not sure, but they closed
Jumbo.
those down. So you like
Free popcorn.
walk around and there's like popcorn everywhere.
Yeah,
Just felt like a teenager's bedroom.
Yeah,
those are good days, man.
Yeah,
Man, those are good days.
but
That's a bunch of old guys reminiscing about video stores.
yeah, getting back to the old, like getting less new age and like getting back to the whatever. In terms of like AI, like there's like, have you guys seen bolt.new? I think it's called. If you go to bolt.new, you just say, hey, I don't know, this website that does this stuff. And it will build it out and show you, and you can interact with the UI.
Mhm.
But at the end of it, you can host it on a website and log in. Like it's basically, here it is, and it's done.
Nice.
Right? Like that's pretty cool. And then it's getting better and better in that regard. But a lot of people also haven't heard of like Claude. Like everyone's like ChatGPT, whatever. And people don't pay for the full one, and they should, because it will literally give you the wrong answer on the non-paid one. Like it happened multiple times from a programming perspective, from a like just simple question perspective. Maybe not as much, but
So what is Claude? Is that Google's? No, Google's is Gemini.
Anthropic.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, and then so for example, it was like earlier this week there was like a RFP, request for proposal, for like all the different government bodies put out these things all the time, where the team was able to crank out a RFP in 2 hours with the use of Claude, but not only generate the full requirement, timeline, costing, budget, everything involved with the information from the RFP, but also put together a full end-to-end usable solution that's clickable. So we, obviously we did video and watermarks because they won't, they might not log in and all that stuff, but that is still going above and beyond for what I believe is every other software company that's bidding on RFPs, giving actual working demoable videos they're just looking for, hey, here's if we had an off the shelf solution for sure, but we've taken the time to code the actual proof of concept and interact with it and give a video. So we got a kind of response to that, and they said, put an addendum out. And if you look at the addendum, they kind of wanted every other company to do what we did, but they didn't say that. So number 2 out of 30 companies right now. So using AI, I guess, professionally correctly, not to, but to review, let's say 40-page PDFs to kind of get some of the key information points and requirements and things like that. That's crucial. That's like taking 3 salaries into one. And you do have to review a lot, but it puts you more into the reviewer than than the doer, right?
Yeah, I mean, for tasks like that, it makes sense, right? But none of that involves any type of creativity. It's just monotonous.
Yeah, it's a fancy calculator, right? I mean, the calculator makes math a lot easier to do, but it doesn't mean you can start going and solving very complicated equations and problems using math, right? You can do the busy work. You can do the raw, it's you still have to know how to set up the proposal. You have to know the why behind it if you're really going to do good work.
Yep.
So it's just another tool. And
yes,
it's just another tool, and it always has been.
I know, and but I think that there is a
spin on it. It's completely different than how we see it, right?
No, but it's listen. If you want to use these tools to get by without having to do any kind of hard work, like, you're going to be hurting your career long term. right? If you're younger, I mean, don't go into fields that can be automated that easily, right? If you proposal writing, I think a lot of that, can be done by computers. And if you're a company that you're looking to spend one resource instead of three, it makes total sense. So
but you know
that's the big advice, is just be careful what you go in for, because there's a huge shortage of traditionally it's called blue collar jobs, because there's tons of opportunities out there. A computer's never going to be able to fix your pipes or repair your car. At least, might build your car, but
like until those Tesla bots and those NVIDIA bots like start choking our cats and stuff like that when they have a bad line of code, like Hal from what's called something Odyssey or
2001: A Space Odyssey, Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece.
So I had some of the sprinkles of the sentence, and but thanks for helping me finish that one. But
like kind of shotgun that sentence out there.
Here's all the pieces, and I have a crew of guys that will come and pick them up and fill you in on the rest. But me, I have to leave because I have an appointment, probably saying other similar weird sentences that people don't understand. But I'm happy to be here. And what? It's like a more drunk version of like a politician. But no, my mind's normally way ahead of than what my mouth can do.
Anyway, so back to the creative video part. I got an email or an ad. Something came up where
an e-ad.
This site, it's an e-ad. It basically creates 100 videos it can push out 100 AI generated videos per day onto YouTube. So you pay for a service, you can pump out your 100 videos per day. And I guess the more you pay, the higher it goes, and the less you pay, you get like 10. There's tiers, right? But can you imagine 100, AI generated YouTube videos being pushed out per day on this channel?
In other news, the CodePlay Culture has been canceled because of the following reasons. It's like, but they're sounding less robotic. They're sounding like real people.
No, but I think pace. Again, I would have to give some faith in YouTube. Obviously, with Google having invested so much in this technology, they're gonna have measures in place to prevent that. You say, 100 videos that quickly.
They wouldn't, right? So long as you tick that box that says altered content. None of that.
But there's certain things. I mean, especially when they start paying money out, I'm sure they'll be catching that, right? There's got to be some process in place before they start turning on monetization for somebody where they go back and check.
The thing is, they don't care. Their whole thing is, can the ads run on this? Can ads run on this video? Right. If you're green, the rest is gravy, man. They do not care about how many you push a day. They just want that green check mark and be advertiser friendly, because they're making money at that point.
Yeah, money is the money rules at the end.
I think you're allowed to push out more than 100 videos per day. They just have to meet those guidelines of is it ad friendly, and if you hit that check mark for altered content, they can't do anything about it.
But but Chris is saying that they will, but they'll continue to take in the money for now, but they will slowly start saying, hey, no, this is like really good content. It's not like shovelware for all the countries to get money out of the US or whatever, right?
It's also, if the platform becomes unusable because of that kind of bloat, you're going to start shaving losers off, right? They're going to go
absolutely to like a Kickstarter and stuff like that, and Indiegogo. Those were like complete. It was a complete mess. Good idea, good concept at first, but just turned out to be a complete disaster, right? I'm not even sure if they're still running or up. Or anything.
Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, is it still thriving? Yeah. I mean, I only fund projects with people that I know and trust personally.
I see.
I mean, that's my general rule for almost everything anyway. I do business with people I know. That's where a lot.
Do you guys in the US have like change.org? I think it's like for petition signing.
Yeah.
Do you have that kind of
That's worldwide, right? I think.
Again, I guess it's an org. Crap. Everyone's in on the orgs.
Guys, can we talk about how Amazon dropped the ball on AI with Alexa? Like, how did they 100%. Not, like, it's AI revolution. How did they not use their flagship AI? I shouldn't say AI. Their flagship assistant and turn it into an AI
because they focus so much on the hardware, right? They invested so much money on getting the devices into homes at basically loss leaders, and then they weren't being utilized because people started getting really keyed into the fact that there's privacy concerns.
Mm.
And I mean, they're Amazon, and Amazon's not exactly known for being concerned with their users' privacy and data.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
So you
They
think
just
that
have
was
your
like a
gross
big,
margin.
that was the culprit? Yeah.
Yeah. So they were just hemorrhaging millions and millions of dollars a year. I mean, at a certain point, that's going to limit your ability to innovate. But
Right.
I mean, that
Now,
might just be
in the US, you can add ChatGPT 4 to your Amazon device. And I'm going to say Amazon device from here on out so people's things don't go bloom if they ever listen
right.
to this podcast. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but
always got to
again,
remember that.
the
I don't
answer
have
is I just
her
don't have
around
any
me.
of that crap in my house.
I have it on my fridge, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole Internet of Things, the promise of that, right? At some point, they were putting buy. Didn't Amazon have like a buy buttons? You can put it like in your
Yeah.
pantry. You run out of like
That's
detergent.
kind of
press the
smart
button.
though. Like I know that they were like pretty out there, but if you think about it, the moment that you know that you need it, you don't want to add extra work. You just want to be like, order toilet paper or whatever. But if you have like right where the toilet paper thing is, maybe it's like a big cylinder that you load up and you only get like 4 Pez dispensers per like whatever visit, and then there's a button there, and then it just comes the next day. It's like
it's a bit of infantilization, isn't it? Like press button, get banana. Like at a certain point, like if they've already got it down to 2 swipes and buy now, like it's probably one swipe and a click at your eyeballs. Like
well, so for me, the fastest way I can get stuff out is with my voice, especially like if I'm mousing all day and my wrist hurts from phone usage and stuff. Like I have like chronic pain in my right wrist, right? I'm like anything I can do to not use my phone is good, but those buttons were like people are like clicking them like crazy, and at least when you do voice ordering on your Amazon device, it asks you for a PIN code, so your kids can't order like a bunch of MetaQuest.
Yeah, but honestly, for me, I'm doing everything I can to get out of that whole environment anyway.
Yes.
Right. I think, you were talking about DVDs and other things like that. I mean, I know you're more on that side of content from a creative standpoint. A little more so. I mean, I do, there's certain aspects of streaming and things that are nice, but not having to buy everything from Amazon. Like there are choices out there. You can support friendly local game stores. You can support your smaller independent stores. I think there is a pushback towards that.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, there are times where it's really convenient. I need a very specific battery to get my security system up and going for tomorrow. Like, yeah, it can be nice to have that 24-hour service, but it's a weird. It has and it's both a blessing and a curse. It's nice to have that everything company that can just get you what you need in 24 hours, but at the same time, is that convenience worth everything else that comes with it?
Yeah, not always, man. I mean, do you so you're out of toilet paper, right? You go take a shower. You can wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's the same company that's screwing creators, right? It's Audible's got these programs that just really screw authors.
Yeah.
Right. They've made this environment.
At this point, like the person on the toilet or the toilet paper. like I'm trying to like relate it back to that one there. I'm like,
the person selling toilet paper on Amazon's making more money than the person that spends 2 years writing a book. But
yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, because of just margins, mass distribution, like just saturated markets, dominance, monopoly.
It's people not wanting to pay the margin for creative effort.
Right.
People, exactly. and that's the damage with streaming, as opposed to when you had a product that you could sell and had sales numbers versus a play on a podcast or a stream or an audiobook or ebook. Having that tangible product,
it
meant something.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But they've got the physical products with margins so damn tight already.
Yeah.
Because there is, I mean, Amazon is the marketplace, right? If you're not there, like people aren't, you're just getting rid of such a large subset of your potential market. Like you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite sad, man. And it goes back to the video game conversation we had, buying physical and digital media. You don't own that digital media. They shut down their servers. You're done. You lose your purchases, right? I know
Yeah.
PS3 purchases. I can play them on my PS3, but what if I don't have internet anymore? Whatever it is, I don't have the physical disc. I can't resell it to my friends.
Yeah.
It's
The ownership.
Resell it to my friends. I can't resell it.
Yeah.
I can't let somebody borrow it. But yeah, you don't have ownership.
They're so weird. Like there's one of the games, dude. I think it's like Minecraft or Minecraft Legends or something that came with like you can just download that and get it. But like when you put in the disc, if you put it in the first time you put in the disc on an account that's never bought that game, it doesn't have a registered license. It puts the entire thing on the hard drive. You could play without it if you bought it from the store, the exact same file. But because the first time you put the disc in the drive, it associated the license with the disc license. Literally on the disc is like 10 kilobytes, and it's a license file, right? Like that's what I'm kind of thinking, because it's like it doesn't install it from the disc. It might. I mean, like I'm kind of throwing out a lot of assumptions, but it's like literally put the disc in. I'm like, what? I did buy it online too, just to like see. I'm like, does it work? I'm like, no. Luckily, you can refund.
Like Sony. I know a couple of years ago, Sony tipped the scales of online purchases, digital discs. It was over 50% on the PSN store. So their market is now more than 50% digital. But Nintendo, like I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo, it's the opposite. Like people are buying physical discs. That's why they stay at $80 per game, right? They never drop in price. I seen it once, maybe.
First party,
Super Mario Day, where Super Mario games were like $50, but never do they drop to the level of PSN's games, man.
Oh, they hold.
I never see a 75% off deals because people want the physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just a lot of. I don't want to make assumptions.
Collector culture has also gotten a little crazy too. I mean, pandemic gave that rocket fuel. But when I see like an old video game in a box in a glass case with like quality ratings that you can't open it again, it just boggles my mind that people are spending all this money for crazy collectible items like that.
Okay, so on sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
On AI and video games, because we went deep into I like physical media. You know what I mean? Like
we're afraid of the robots.
It's like we're afraid of robots. We like physical. You like digital? Well, I don't do digital. It's like, what you got against digital, Grandpa? Anyways,
so what it's going to be like?
Yeah, like it's like yeah.
I'm getting ready for that war. Yeah,
there's like a pretty cool like oh, here we go. Logan's going to talk about his dongle. But like, there's a cool like HDMI dongle for Nintendo Switch. It works for other things too, even though they sell it for Switch. But it's like $200. But it will literally, as the HDMI is coming through the Switch, it will convert it with AI like on the fly to like 4K. But you can tell that you can do a before and after, and there is serious noticeable like. I like the idea of like AI being used to speed up the development time of AAA games to bring back remasters into like a better, more crystal clear light with having half the staff, but you're not really, changing the game at all. You're just kind of automating a lot of the stuff that you would do manually. Mm-hmm. Beautiful to see that happen.
What would be a good use of AI, these large language models, is plugging them into old games, doing some remaster, but adding and changing the dialogue to be AI dialogue. So it's a little more dynamic, and it'll be the same game, just AI dialogue. So they're kind of plugged into that. That would be awesome. That's a good use of.
I mean, more reactive. You're talking about kind of some of the old school like text adventures and stuff.
Yeah, like take Zelda. A Link to the Past. Just plug that into an AI LLM and just have the dialogue be completely AI driven.
Yeah, for all different countries.
The new Zelda game, they should probably use it because it would be better than the crap they wrote. Dialogue is atrocious.
Are you talking about the Breath of the Wild 2 or
no the new one where you play as Princess Zelda?
Oh, sorry, I was talking about A Link to the Past.
That.
No, I know.
I love that one. Oh my god, you're playing it too? Like, oh man, it's so good. I thought that it would be like a little weird to play as like, okay, I'm normally a dude with a sword, but now I'm like not a dude, and instead of a sword, I make beds. It was like really weird, right?
Princess,
but it's so good.
Well, the game
Princess
is great.
Zelda.
Yeah, you get to play, but when you want to actually like do stuff, you have to like transform into Link's form as a little like, all right, like really.
So if you want to do stuff, you become Link, and if you want to make beds, you become Zelda.
Yeah, it's got sexism written all over it, but it's a remaster from the GBA like days.
Oh,
right?
okay.
No, it's not a remaster though. It's its own standalone game using the same remastered tech they used on the old one. But like, I don't need to be dragged through the story by my nose with like just terrible dialogue, and you're just clicking through like the story sucks. Like,
they don't have like a rapid skip. But no, it was a GBA game, right? Like it's sort of not a remaster, but a remake with that engine. But it was a GBA game, I think.
Yeah, Link's Awakening, I think.
Yeah, but then I think they must have added stuff because there's some weird stuff in there where it's like that couldn't have been in the original. But so good.
All right, guys. So here's the thing: will you guys join the anti-AI army or no in the near future? Are you guys gonna lead it? Will you guys join as members? You want to join the club? Let me put the link.
Pro like ethical use of AI, but I'm definitely on the ban. I'm definitely got AI on the IV right now.
All right, so you're completely plugged into the matrix. What about you, Chris?
No, I think I hate the term. I'm down for using algorithmic type tools for very specific use cases.
Yeah.
But in terms of, just throwing AI on something and having it, especially in the creative realm, I'm very much dead set against it. I've seen that again with I put AI statements on things. I think you're going to continue to see more and more of a pushback for physical media.
Right. Would you let it wash
I think provenance of a work. It's one thing that, again, keeping honest people honest, but I think you're going to see even more people want to see, finding ways for certificates of authenticity, authenticating that you're a real human.
Yes. Absolutely.
Everything from phone systems through to the art itself. But I will always be on the lookout and promote tools that help that part of it. The pushback against. Yeah.
Same here, man.
AI
and there's going to be more of it in the coming years. I'm pretty sure of it.
So, and I think it just comes down to trying our best. I mean, it's part of, I guess, our platform here, but of educating people to be more literate on what they're getting out of technology, how to differentiate. Like, oh, that's fake.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it in some. So you get a lot worse before it gets better. So I think the onus on people, if you do have that skill set, whether it's being in your organization, your family, just helping to train people on what's legitimate or not. Like, question your media.
Absolutely. If you guys could have a robot in your house washing dishes, laundry, clean the toilets, no,
I don't even have.
Right, Logan, no. Menial tasks.
Housekeepers come in. I just do it myself, and that's part of being human. Clean up after yourself.
That's a good point. Logan,
I don't know, Sway. What do you think? Like, do you think that there should be robots that go into people's like houses and like clean the toilets? Like, what's your thoughts?
Having robots that clean toilets could be pretty handy, especially for those who find it tough to keep up with cleaning. What about you? Would you welcome a robo-cleaner into your home?
I don't know. I like to do physical activity around the house, and it helps me skip like the gym. Like, do you guys ever skip the gym because you're kind of doing a bunch of work around the house?
That sounds like a great way to stay active and get things done. Plenty of people skip the gym when they're getting a good workout from household chores or yard work.
Hey, Sway, should we put a bullet in your head?
Hey, dude, I have somebody here too.
You do?
Yeah. I think his told you that before. His name's Papa Smurf. Hang on a second. Hey, Papa Smurf, what do you think of AI?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm sorry, I don't know where that joke was going. You can cut that out of the podcast.
you went full ventriloquist on it, but it's like zero.
As soon as the hands came in front of the mouth.
Yeah. I was like,
Anyone listening on podcast, we're sorry.
You
funny on
can
video.
definitely cut that out of the pre-production,
put it
pre-post,
on
whatever the heck it's called.
the B-roll.
Well, I'm Chris. I'm here with Logan.
Oh,
Here
nice.
with Rui. We've been having an interesting conversation about AI, and stay tuned for the next episode of CodePlay Culture.